A lot of people in the comments hate this guy.
I'm used to Trump attacking me 24/7.
He has an answer. Whether or not it's the right answer, we'll see.
With all due respect to those critics, I don't think they were doing an effective job.
How excited are national Democrats that the two frontrunners literally came out of the same San Francisco machine?
Not that happy.
Hey, I'm Nicholas Johnston, the publisher of Axios. I'm here with Alex Thompson, our national political correspondent. He's just back from Sacramento, where he did an interview with Governor Gavin Newsom. Why that conversation now?
Because he could be the next president. And in a disparate field with no clear frontrunner, Gavin Newsom has risen to the top. He is maybe not, if not the frontrunner, a frontrunner for the Democratic nomination in 2028. And if you can get the nomination in this polarized country, you can become the next president.
How is he rising to this occasion?
Say there were two buckets that he's really done well, especially over the last year. Beginning on November of 2024, he has tried to become the chief Trump foe.
Fighting fire with fire, respectfully. We need to fight fire with fire.
With Democrats feeling despondent and feeling that they needed a fighter, he has become, in many ways, the chief, Trump foil.
How do you approach an interview with someone who talks so much to try and get around like those defenses, those prepared things that he'll whip out in response to any?
Well, and I, as someone that has listened to, I kid you not, at least 40 hours of Gavin interviews over the last, few months, he is ready to go with those lines. I mean, the first thing is you had to listen to all 40 hours in order to understand if you phrase the question this way, this is what you're going to get in response. The other thing that you have to do is, as much as possible, I tried to make the questions pointed. If I leave it at all open-ended, I know
fill it with
he's going to just go off the off-ramp into whatever he wants to say. For example, I really wanted to dive deep into his relationship with Kamala Harris because it's not something they like to talk about. But there is real tension there. So former Vice President Kamala Harris, why don't you guys like each other?
It's a preposterous premise of a question because we absolutely do.
Well, she took a shot at you in her book. You didn't speak at her convention. I mean, we can even go back to the San Francisco days with her and Guilfoyle. I mean, there seems to be something there.
No, quite the contrary. I introduced her at the convention. It was even more personal. I actually was the one that got enough votes that gave her the nomination, and I had the privilege of speaking in front of the convention. So it was the ultimate affirmation of that relationship.
I wanted to sort of just see his reaction, to have it put there bluntly. And then I had those follow-ups.
Did it work? Did the facade flicker?
I mean, he denied any tension.
Right.
But I think by mentioning the fact that Kamala took a small shot at him in her book.
She gave me a little shot as it relates to the actual truth of the walk I was on. And I remember texting her back. I said, Kamala, I've already put out a statement supporting you, the last person you need to talk to. But for whatever reason, she added that in. I think it graded some color for the book.
You could tell that there's still a little annoyance with her having done that. And so there's some interesting side dramas here.
Tell us about why that relationship is so important.
Well, because if Gavin Newsom is not the frontrunner, then the other frontrunner is Kamala Harris. In every poll, they are both at the very top of it. Both have said they are considering running for president. And in some ways, it is the potential culmination of a multi-decade rivalry.
They've known each other for a long time.
Long time. I think they both think they know each other's weaknesses. And if they both run, and it's not clear they both will, but if they both run, it will be one of the most important dynamics in a 2028 Democratic primary.
How excited are national Democrats that the two frontrunners literally came out of the same San Francisco machine?
Not that happy because they're worried that San Francisco liberal can't win in the same way like a Massachusetts liberal can't win. And that's why you're seeing a lot of national Democrats like scouring the country for like
anybody
swings,
not from Willie Brown's machine.
Right? Like a swing state, a person that's like done really well in a swing state.
Does Gavin have an answer to that quandary about like why he's better than someone from like Kentucky or Pennsylvania who's won in red states?
He has an answer. Whether or not it's the right answer, we'll see. And Gavin will say, with some good reason, that he has never been as lefty as sort of the national narrative around him would paint him. So I think a lot of the national narrative, if people knew anything about Gavin Newsom, they would say, oh, gay marriage in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Because he defied potential court orders and married people in the San Francisco City Hall in 2000, I believe it was 2003 or 2004.
Yeah.
But if you actually look, when he was running as mayor, he was a business-friendly candidate.
Right.
And even when he became governor, with his relationship with tech as like a particular example, while he has signed a lot of progressive legislation, he has actually been much, I think, if not friendly, but certainly like less heavy regulation on tech than a lot of Democrats on the left wing would call for.
I want to get back into the facade part. So you mapped out these conversations, almost prosecutorial. Like if I ask this, he'll say this, and then where do I go next?
Yeah.
Where do you feel you were most successful in kind of piercing the prepared?
That's a good question. I think I was most successful in trying to pierce that veil with asking him directly, do you think Israel is an apartheid state? Yes or no? Do you consider Israel an apartheid state?
I said that was directional as it relates to what Freeman was arguing about the annexation of the West Bank. So no.
He felt that he was just citing the column. And anyways, it created all this controversy, especially among some donors and feeling that Gavin was going too far left. And he was very blunt in saying, no, that he's worried about it going in that direction, but he doesn't think so now. I'd say the other places where I was the most interested is just asking him about tech and getting his, this is a huge issue in the Democratic Party right now. You have people like Bernie Sanders and AOC saying there should be a moratorium on data centers. Let's put the brakes on AI.
Right.
And having Newsom weigh in on that, for example, saying, because he grew, he came up with a lot of tech buddies. I mean, Sergey Brin went to his wedding. Elon was like very close to him. And so getting him to acknowledge, I'm not an AI doomer.
There are the doomers out there. I mean,
Are you one?
I'm not a doomer.
Okay.
I can't live like that.
And trying to get at sort of his techno-optimism in like in a clear way that I don't think always comes out.
Is this like what seems to be maybe most interesting about Gavin is that he makes his transition from a California politician to a national politician.
Mm-hmm.
You have to change a little bit of what you say, especially around tech.
Well, and the nice part about it is that it's an issue he is so close to because he is Californian, but it's now become such a national issue that he actually can make news and be interesting on it. I think he also sort of stands out by being, he can point to regulations that they've made on tech in California because they were the first to do them.
Right.
But, so he's a little bit ahead of the curve compared to a lot of the other potential candidates in terms of his fluency with the issue.
And you got him on Elon Musk.
One of the great disappointments. One of the great innovators of our time. He's the Edison of our time. It breaks my heart. I was the first, one of the first Teslas off the line. I've been one of their biggest proponents, supporters. It was regulation in California that created the conditions that allowed him to take the risk to become the multi-billionaire, maybe trillionaire that he's become. But right now he's allowing, and I think this is Trump, not just Elon Musk, he's going to allow the greatest on goal in, I think, one of the most significant on goals in the next decade is ceding the EV space to China.
We went through like Sam Altman, Peter Thiel, and Elon, and he called Elon one of the greatest.
How nuanced are his views of all of them?
Because he knows them all very well. And I thought, we talked a little bit about some of his more like, sort of crunchy granola, say like California rhetoric sometimes. And, the Sam Altman, he said that Sam Altman is the guy that, can stand at the base of a mountain and tell you what's on the other side. You get what I'm saying?
What does that even mean?
He's calling him a visionary in a California way, right? And Peter Thiel, he said it was like a brilliant mind and had some like really, he was like, I think he's become a little bit more nihilistic, but he's known all these, all these people that are now like these, mega billionaires, the most powerful people arguably in the world. Gavin used to be like texting buddies with in like the early 2000s.
A lot of people in the comments hate this guy. Why is that?
First and foremost, it's because they think he might be able to win. And whenever you have shown an ability to win for the other side in this polarized country, you've just seen attacks go more and more, which is why you've seen even like places like Fox News, conservative media have really trained their fire on Newsom, on Newsom's wife even. You've seen conservative media go after him. So the first and foremost reason is they see Gavin Newsom as a potential winner, as a threat.
Right.
Gavin Newsom has risen and become a foil for Trump over the last year and a half and shown an ability to actually go toe-to-toe with him in some ways. Now, I'd say the other reason is the whole affect of Gavin Newsom, which, I think he even has said that sometimes he gets painted as slick. And, people glom onto that. And some people don't like it. Now, some people, I think part of the reason why some progressives do like him is because he's shown to be a formidable communicator.
Right.
And, I think you've seen with the book tour and how the fact that even people have a feeling about this guy is symbolic of how he has risen onto the national stage.
And I feel like he would view that as a victory. If they're talking about it, if you get a presidential nickname making fun of you, it means it's working.
I mean, it means that you are a serious enough person to be attacked,
to engender that kind of hate.
Yeah, and unfortunately, in this era of our politics, that matters. I mean, it's a symbol of success. If you're getting attacked online every other day, it's because one side sees you as a threat.
Alex, good to see you. Thanks for being here. You can watch the whole interview on YouTube.